Good morning. This is John Gregory Presco coming to you live from Eugene, Oregon. It's 8:24, and we are going to have a eclipse of the sun that will create a ring of fire placed upon one hand. Wow. Okay, well, call me the reluctant Messiah, even the second coming of Jesus, because he's been altered so much that he's not recognizable to me. I'm having my morning coffee. I'm coming in with a series of uh, lectures, prophecy, lessons that are vital now because I think religion, spirituality is dead on the planet with a terrorist attack by Hamas on Israel and the hideous response. Uh, it's not acceptable. We still, the good people of this world, fail to detect the Hamas attack upon innocent people, especially children and old women. But we can do something about the loss of life in the Gaza Strip, the bombing by Israel, the ordering of 1 million people to head to the other side of the Gaza Strip. And I assume they're going to just level it because the Jews do not like to lose soldiers. And they're not going to be sending soldiers in. They're just going to level one side of it. Then they're going to have people march back to the other side and then level that side. And who's going to take care of these people and feed them, house them? Uh, the Gaza Strip is already a penitentiary. This is ghastly. Uh, Netanyahu and his gangsters of vicious rabbis are converting millions to radical Islam right now. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's watching what's going on. People aren't stupid. And they can see, they have an eye, a third eye. And they get to make judgments. It's supposed to be about democracy. Israel was supposed to be about democracy, but it started becoming a dictatorship. And tens of thousands of Israelis marched in the street against Netanyahu and the Orthodox Jews that were trying to set up a kingdom. Well, that kingdom failed. And now the residue is radicalizing Muslims all over the world, tens of thousands every hour. And why shouldn't it? I mean, there's tens of thousands of radicalized Americans, starting with the Tea Party, that armed themselves and marched in front of the Capitol and the White House 20 years ago, 15. And the insurrectionists were armed. Uh, Armed men are threatening judges and elected officials. The Republican Party can't get a Speaker of the House. Um, it's dead, as I predicted. And this is what I'm facing this morning. if I'm right, if I have the sight of a true prophet, and it looks like I do, and it looks like I've proven it, the whole thing about wanting to start a school of espionage in Belmont and looking for my dad and where they're buried and how they got there. It's very prophetic. I'm coming in as the new church, the new Radio Church of God. Herbert Armstrong founded the Radio Church of God, 1933, at KORE, that was located about a mile due west from here on Linda Street. His first broadcast was on the first Sunday, 1934. Radio Church of God. Then he printed a newspaper, The World of Tomorrow, and The Plain Truth. Four years ago, I discovered that Herbert Armstrong was broadcast from a pirate radio ship that was captained by my Facebook friend Ben Tony. And when I commented on that, my neighbors became very upset. And they attacked my animal, threatened my other animal, and they threatened me to lock me up, saying I'm a lunatic. That's proof that you're a prophet in anybody's book. I've been prophesizing through my characters in my James Bond book, The Royal Janitor. And I made Victoria Rosamond Bond's bodyguard, Miriam Starfish Christ. I made her a super Christian, which was a brilliant move. I'd like to say everything I'm saying on this video show is copyrighted. I have a special copyright to ministers. That's granted to ministers who broadcast their thoughts and their writings. A lot of sermons are written out beforehand. And those are copyrighted. Everything I write is copyrighted because it's now been proven that I'm the only one that saw something coming on the sukkot. And I had written, once again, republished, that my belief that Jesus was born in the sukkot booth. So my anxiety, starting back with on Yom Kippur and then ending today, the day of the Ring of Fire eclipse, is prophecy. Herbert Armstrong believed in the end time Elijah, and I believe I'm him. How can I be the end time Elijah and the third coming of Jesus? It looks like Jesus was overlaid on John the Baptist teaching. They mixed them together like a deck of cards. They kind of shuffled it together to hide John. It says that John prepared the way for Jesus, and when he was in his mother's womb, Elizabeth, when John was in Elizabeth's womb, Mary came and she was pregnant, and Jesus jumped. She felt Jesus move in her womb as he received the Holy Spirit from John. Fabrication. This is called a transference. And I'm going to be writing out, giving people clues on my blog, Roy Roseman Press, of what I'm talking about. I'm not going to be super accurate. That will develop next few months. Someone wants to help me do that. What came up was me finding this. I can't believe that. I just lost that. I was looking at Jesus saying, "Get behind me, Satan," to Satan that was on top of the that was on top of the temple. Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns." This is Matthew 16:23. Absolutely outrageous statement when I read that. So what does it mean Peter only had human concerns? I mean, wasn't he the person that Jesus was going to build his church upon? He's his disciple. I mean, what is Peter missing? What kind of lesson from Jesus, who he doesn't not believe is the Son of God? There's no explanation where Jesus said, "I've chosen you to believe me, that I am the embodiment of God here on earth." So that's the lesson. So I want you all to, go hire a scribe if you can write. I want you to write this lesson down. Get it down. This is the beginning of my ministry. That I am the Son of God, and I'm here to die on the cross for your sins. Got it? Any questions? Didn't happen, did it? Didn't happen that way. We get all this parables and the seed being sown and all these other sayings, and there's some healings and all going on. And Peter was there, he saw it. Yeah, I think I got it. You're a candidate for the Messiah of the Jews, right? No, Peter, you got it all wrong. Dang you, get behind me, Satan. I read that last week. I go, wow, this is where the pancake is flipped. This is where the real Satan takes the real teaching and flips it to where it favors him and the Romans. And it's anti-Semitic as all hell. Because it's the Judaizers that are interested in human concerns. The chosen children of God, they're only interested in human concerns and human laws. And, I'm bringing you grace. You heard of grace? No. What do you mean? You're getting rid of the laws of Moses and that God gave to him, and you're placing it with grace? Yeah. That's what I'm doing. And instead of the followers of the way and the followers of John the Baptist and the Jews that were early disciples practicing Judaic traditions, like cleansing your utensils so you will be free of sin. Oh, if you got to get circumcised so you won't be a sinner. Well, that's no more. All you got to have is grace. That's it. I'm getting rid of, as God incarnate, I'm getting rid of all the laws. I gave the Jews and Moses, or Moses to give to the Jews. Deuteronomy, the 5 books of Moses. Then throw them away. Oh, throw away your Jewish teachers too. Look, I got some Greek teachers now. Even a Roman, Priscilla, blah, blah. I'm bringing in my people, my pagans. They don't want to get circumcised. They don't want to cleanse their temples and stuff. So what the heck is wrong with you, Peter? Did you go get circumcised when I wasn't looking? You did. You're a Judaizer. A Judaizer, a betrayer. You're Satan. Satan is behind the Judaizers. Peter goes, what the, who's this? He's the one that says, get behind me. I don't know you. Who are you? What did you do to Jesus? See, it was him. Because all of a sudden Jesus just turned into this incredibly vicious anti-Semitic monster. So click for the chapter. Okay, come on. So let's read this. This is Mark 16. Then the Pharisees and Sadducees came and tested Jesus by asking him to show them a sign from heaven. Now, we don't believe you, Jesus, that you're the Messiah of the Jews. Show us a sign from heaven. But he replied, when evening comes, you say, the weather will be fair, for the sky is red. And in the morning, today, it will be stormy, for the sky is red and overcast. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but not the signs of the time? Really? Really? The Jews didn't have the ability to interpret the signs of the time? What about Elijah? What about, the prophets that fought prophets of Baal? I mean, maybe Jesus ought to go and convert Roman augurs. They know, they can read the signs of the time, the flight of birds, the movement of fish. Augurs! Augury! That's it. Jesus needs to go talk to the augurs. See, they got the staff with a curl up there. They used to sight the stars and the moons, and they make the template, the square. Then they do the X, and this is what they did before they built the Roman temple. They'd see if the auspices are correct. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but not the signs of the times? A wicked and adulterous generation demands a sign, but none will be given except the sign of Jonah. Then he left them and went away. Sign of Jonah? Did he pass the test that the Pharisees and Sadducees wanted? Asking him to show them a sign from heaven. Did he cause an eclipse of the sun to happen? Did a shooting star come across, What heavenly sign? Oh, Jonah. That's it. Look at Jonah. Look at the sign of Jonah. They went, wow, he passed the test. Yeah, I get it. See? No, he didn't pass the test, did he? And then the Christians, they had put the sign of the fish on the back of their cars when they're driving down the street, I got the sign of the fish behind me. look at me with my fish symbol on a Jonah, We passed the test. We've seen heavenly signs. No, I'm sorry. It didn't happen. When they crossed the other side, the disciples forgot to take bread. Watch out, Jesus told them. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They discussed this among themselves and concluded, it's because we did not bring any bread. Aware of their conversation, Jesus said, you of little faith, why are you debating among yourselves about having no bread? Do you still not understand? Do you still not understand? See? You get this? I read the Bible when I was 40. I just couldn't believe what I was reading. You get the Sadducees and the Pharisees and even the scribes challenging Jesus all over the place. Everywhere he goes with his 12, he's being challenged. But he really fails the test. But when he gets his disciples all alone, he's scolding them. Oh, you didn't know about this. You didn't know about that. Oh, you failed the test. You failed. You. Failures. You. Did you know about the bread thing? He's a nag. Bitch. See, this isn't accurate. This cannot be the real history of any Messiah, any candidate for the Messiah. And he really sounds like St. Paul wrote this, or Timothy. You still understand? You not remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000? How many baskets full you gathered? Or the 7 loaves for the 4,000? How many baskets you gathered? How do you not understand that I was not telling you about bread, but beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? What the hell does that mean? It's like you'd never heard about the 5,000 loaves? But where is that? They usually have a cross reference for it. I mean, where before Jesus was born were the Jews having this bread conversation? Huh? Then they understood that he was not telling them to beware of the leaven used in bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Really? Why didn't he just say, look out for those guys? Don't listen to them. They're trying to corrupt you. Why is he going off on the leaven of the bread of the thousands? And I go, oh, it's heavenly talk. This is heavenly talk. This is proof he's the Son of God. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he questioned the disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? Another test for the disciples. They replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others say Jeremiah or one of the prophets. There you go, you get an answer. Because, you Google who was Jesus Son of Man, you Google that and you get all these extensive, convoluted, it was the grace. Keep your mind on, it's about grace. And he sacrificed his life, shed his blood, so you will be without sin. But what about the Son of Man time? Oh, you should go there for that question. So there it is. Disciples who are Jewish are saying, they replied, some say John the Baptist was the Son of Man. Let's stop right there. Going back to the baby in the womb, meeting the Holy Spirit that John was born with, as predicted by an angel, he would be filled with the Holy Spirit, while even in his mother's womb to the day he dies. So, is that the Son of Man? Is there a connection between Zechariah seeing an angel in the Holy of Holies, and then he says, you were born a child? No, this is coming from the Holy of Holies. So maybe that's what they thought, that John the Baptist was the Son of Man. And then there's Elijah. Somebody asked Jesus, is John Elijah? I tell you, yes, he was. John was the second coming of Elijah. Oh, so let's get this straight, Jesus, the great teacher. And if you're God, and it comes out of your mouth, it's got to be accurate. So you're saying the title Son of Man is applicable to Elijah and John the Baptist. And Jeremiah are one of the prophets. One of the prophets. What? Roman prophets, Roman augurs, Greek seers, people who can foretell the future. They were called Son of Man. And that's applicable to Jewish prophets? Really? I didn't have a clue. I didn't read my Torah. I didn't read about Moses going up to the mountain, seeing God, and then the elders came up and they actually had dinner with God. I've seen his face. Now I'm going to die. Well, I think they saw Nathaniel, the angel, which I just discovered. And that's who I say I am. I am Nathaniel. He's crazy. He's crazy. Anybody who believes this is real is crazy. Okay, but what about you, Jesus asked? Who do you say I am? Simon Peter answered, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. What do you mean, the living God? Yeah, how did he know about the living God? Jesus replied, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah. For this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever binds you on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Then he admonished disciples not to tell anyone he was the Christ. Don't tell anybody I'm the Christ. My minister attacked me in Bible study at my friend's house when I went over Mark 4. I says, what's going on here? How come Jesus, he gives a secret, to heaven to his disciples, well, how come they didn't write it down? See, and you get this, Here, Jesus is not telling the Pharisees, Sadducees, the elders, the great rabbis, of the Sanhedrin, that he's the Christ. But only when he's with the disciples does he say, I'm the Christ. And don't tell anybody. Well, what's he here for? I mean, no wonder they needed Paul, to be changed from his murderous ways as he's going about and torturing women and children, and locking them up, murdering women and children. to destroy the followers of the way. And, it's like, uh, I made a big mistake, Paul. I really should have been more clear that I'm the Christ. Can you go tell everybody around the world that I was the Christ? I really slipped up. I should have had just told 12 people. I should have told more people I'm the Christ. After all, I'm the incarnated God, and that's why God sent me down here, was to tell everybody I'm the Christ. And I messed up. You believe this? From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, chief priests, and scribes, that he must be killed on the third day he raised to life. Peter took him, capital H, aside and began to rebuke him. Far be it from you, Lord, he said. This shall never happen to you. But Jesus turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You're a stumbling block to me. For you do not have in mind the things of God, but the things of man. Then Jesus told the disciples, If anybody wants to come after me, he must deny himself and take up the cross and follow me. Whoever wants to save his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it, and it will profit a man if he gains the whole world, but yet forfeits his soul. Or what can a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man will come in his Father's glory and with his angels, and then he will pay each one according to what he has done. Truly, I tell you, some of you are standing here will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. There it is. And then you can just go to Revelations and look at the appearance of the Son of Man. So where we are today, folks. 8:57 a.m. Where's the Son of Man? Where are the end days? Where are the prophecies of Revelations? And why do we have to have them? See, what happened here? What Paul, this comes from Paul. This is not Jesus' words or thoughts. And when you say Paul, well, Paul lived here and he died. Well, there's no death date with Paul. Paul is a unit, and I forgot the name of it. Robert Graves, poet, calls them. They're a think tank of Romans who went once the legions went in and conquered a people. To keep them conquered, they mimic these learned men. Now, Paul was a Jew studying at Gamaliel. He was a Pharisee. And I believe he was a Pharisee hired by the Roman slave masters to be a part of this think tank. There's other people in there from other parts of the Roman Empire. And what they do is alter a teaching. They're the wolves in sheep's clothing. And, so once they conquer people, they put in their king and put in their priest. And these priests mimic the ancient religion of these people, but they alter it, they tweak it. And that's what you're reading here. It's being tweaked. And it doesn't matter whether it's Paul was alive or dead, because it's the same group of people that existed for quite a while. They replaced people, they replicated them. They're AI, artificial intelligence. artificial intelligence has been around, and I was able to see through it. And immediately when I read the Bible for the first time in 1967, I would see all the truthful sayings raised up like Braille, and they almost had a gold feel to them, while the lies were like the words were cut out, and behind that you could see the dark bowels of hell. That's what has been plaguing me ever since I picked up the Bible. So what happens, what I just read to you, is a great transference. Is that Jesus was abiding by the laws of Moses, i.e., when he goes in the temple and reads about the Jubilee laws. And he also reads about the laws of Moses in regards to gleaning when he curses the olive tree. And there was a law that the Pharisees passed about 50 years, 100 years before Jesus was born, that saying any child born with a birthmark or blind or deaf, they could speak or they had a mangled arm or they were crippled. Any child was born that way. The Sanhedrin ruled that they were pre-marked sinners. They were born sinners in their mother's womb. Therefore, no rabbi need minister to them. Well, Jesus does. And you have to understand, when you can't, and they tried for 2,000 years, concordance and everything else, make sense of this. Because some of it's real, some of it's unreal, and some of it's John the Baptist. And that's where I'm going to leave you right now, because on the 6th, I'm walking around Eugene, took the MX with my walker, went to go to the library to look for this book that talks about the rulings of the Sanhedrin. And then I realized I hadn't been up 13th Street to look at the new construction there, so I went there. But I'm composing. I start composing. When I go into composing mode, it's like a trance. So, and I should have written it down, but all of a sudden, hell broke out the next day on the October 7th. So I haven't had a chance, but I'm going to tell you right now, I have Victoria Bond question who she's talking to. She's chatting on Facebook, and she's chatting with Ken Babbs. And Victoria is kind of perturbed because it looks like her wife, because she's a lesbian, has gone full hippie on her. And someone already gave her some mushrooms, and she had a crazy, wild trip in the woods on shrooms. Well, that's written. And when Hamas came across through that wall that they blew holes in, that bulldozer, they came upon that music festival, the Sukkot Music Festival. And I believe a lot of those people that were taking LSD or mushrooms, it's called a psychedelic trance. And I'm having a psychedelic trance with starfish, moon cresting starfish. And she's saying that, showing Ken Babbs' text to Victoria Bond, and, look how deep this guy is. And, Victoria can't see it. You know, you can't see this guy's an idiot, huh? Oh, you got to be in the trance, see? You know, like you got to take drugs, like I do, before you see how deep Ken Babs is. That's what I'm composing as I'm walking around Eugene, Oregon, which is going to have a an eclipse of the sun, and there's going to be this ring of fire. See, and you see all these paintings of these aurora, these halos around all the saints, because whoever had the symbolic crucifixion planned to have that day when there's a ring of fire happening. Because when you read about it, the sky turned dark, eclipse. And then the ring of fire appeared behind the Christ's head, whoever that was. And I'm, 2 days ago, I started composing. I went for a blood test, and I looked at Peter. Peter came into this, and Peter had Peter be the father of Mary Magdalene. And so I started doing this whole Moravian thing. Starfish was taking Victoria up to the top of Mount Shasta to be sacrificed on the cross, because Eugene, Oregon's going to be overcast. See, but she has to see that ring of fire around Victoria Rosamond's head, and the followers of her parents are going to be there, because it's overcast. See, I'm a scribe. I mean, whoever wrote both books of the Bible, I mean, those are the people I'm connected with. So I'll end this broadcast so you can see what's going on out here. Live shot. Huh? Can you see that? Oh, we got clouds. Darn. There's fog over there. I'm in Springfield, about 2 miles from, or less, from Eugene, Oregon. But in several hours, around 9 something, the ring of fire is going to start. Get. It's my cat. So, quite a lesson, huh? All right. I'm going to come back. This broadcast from the new Radio Church of God lasted 43 minutes and 36 seconds. All right. Take care out there, you hear?